Welcome to Lashback. I'm Natalyan.
And I'm Phoebe. And today we're talking all about tea.
Brits and the tea. So I've done a little bit of research on this, and it will come to no surprise. One second. It will come as no surprise that the UK has been one of the largest tea consumers with an average annual per capita supply of 1.9 kilograms.
That's
I don't know
me.
what
That's
that
just
means.
me.
That's just you. Oh, is that per
Yeah.
person? And it's originally an upper class drink in Europe. So the bullets that we got here is that we've been one of the largest consumers of tea since the 17th century. It was originally an upper class drink,
Well,
you know,
because it came from overseas.
yeah. And it was gradually spread through all classes and became a common drink. So yes, we're common. And 80% of Britons drink tea and consume 165 million cups daily.
Again, that's just me.
That's just you, yeah.
Yeah.
And British tea traditions have spawned several lasting customs over the centuries. So, what does tea mean to you, Phoebe? And then I'll tell you about me.
Life. It means life.
Life.
Somebody asked me the other day, do you drink water, Phoebe? You know, we were talking about health and stuff. Do you drink water? And I went, yeah, if it's got tea in it.
I love it. I
I'm
love it.
quite renowned for, I'm also tea coloured. I don't,
You
you
are.
know, kind of
You're
tea
always,
coloured.
you're always tanned. It's
I used to
tea,
come home from
really.
school with my friend who lived next door to, so mum worked, so I would go home to my granny and granddad's for the couple of hours after school. And my friend who lived next door, we'd go home from school together and we'd go and sit in my granny's kitchen and drink a pot of tea at like the age of 10. My granddad used to call us old women because we'd sit there, drink tea and have a natter, but it was a bit like a ceremony. And of course, you know, tea comes from, don't quote me, but China and that sort of area of the world. And like, if you get married, if you're China, and again, I'm not completely versed by this, but I once went to my Chinese friend's wedding, and there was this whole tea ceremony.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I think tea has, you know, maybe it's been a bit reduced in its ceremony within British culture compared to that kind of thing. But I do still think there's a real ceremony around it. Let's have a brew and a catch up,
Well,
sit down,
well,
little rituals.
yes. Well, what happens generally in the UK is if you go around your friends and say, "Oh, this has happened. I've had such a terrible week, whatever." 1 second, let me put the kettle on. Let's sit down and have a cup of tea. So it's definitely ritual, but it's just more in a less formal sense. Because obviously you have afternoon tea that you can go to these posh hotels and have, and it's
Whole
sandwich
different,
and
whole
everything
big
as
deal.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but from a average person, a daily affair, everyone I know British just lives on tea. And when I was a little baby, my little sippy cup used to have tea in it.
Oh, I know mums that have
It's
done that.
comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a comforting
Yeah.
thing.
And,
Yeah.
you know, if you've had a trauma, I remember having a car accident and needing a sweet cup of tea. They also give you sweet tea after you've given blood.
Huh? What's the
Yeah.
sugar though, isn't it?
Yeah, but also there's that kind of like, you know,
I'm not a fan of sweet tea in America though. It's massive in the South where I live. I'm not. Tea isn't sweet tea to me. Tea is a cup of tea, hot.
yeah, and in India, chai tea is like this whole thing. It's beautiful. But it's funny whenever I go and see my friend Liz in Portland, you know, she'll always remind me, bring your own tea bags. And I'll go for 2 or 3 weeks or whatever, and I will take 80 or 160 PG tips and have the lot whilst I'm there. And it's a really good advice to take your own tea bags because, of course, if you're going to drink that much tea in America, you've spent like $100
It's
in
true.
Trader Joe's, you know, when
It's
it's
true.
like £2.50 or whatever here.
Well, my friend in Australia, when I lived in Australia, he used to, even if we went to bars, he'd take his own Yorkshire tea bags because people love
Oh, good
Yorkshire tea
man.
bags as well.
Approve.
And he'd do that for a couple of reasons. One, their tea would be awful. Two, he's like, I ain't paying for a cup of tea. It's just a bit of hot water. So I've got my own bags, thanks. So that was like a big deal to him. He'd always have a tea bag in his pocket. That's hilarious. My mate Tony in Australia, if you're listening, well, I'm talking about you.
Hi, Tony. Be my friend.
Cheers.
It's funny though, isn't it? I mean, like, I've got a friend from Manchester, and she always complains about how the tea tastes different in London because, of course, the water's not soft. So, you know, it does depend how you make the tea. And I think Okay, well-known question in this country, controversial. Bag or milk first?
Yeah, I don't think there's any other answer other than bag. I can't understand why you
So
put
glad you said
cold
that.
milk.
We might have fallen out.
Uh, I would fall out with you. In fact, Lashback would be no more
I would fall out
because
with you first.
but literally, I don't understand how you could put cold milk and then so like
It needs to be
that
hot.
makes no sense. The whole point of a bag is it has to be hot. It has to have
Totally,
hot
and
water.
circulate in there.
Yeah. Here's another thing, because as the years have gone on, I don't have dairy anymore, apart from cheese, which I don't consider dairy. I consider cheese just a necessity.
They say it
But
releases the same chemicals in your brain as like hard drugs.
yeah, I'm probably inclined to agree, and I'm not quite over my addiction yet. But I do have oat milk, so I don't have normal milk and tea. But every now and then, if
Good.
I'm around someone's house who just has milk, I'll have it, and it does taste completely different. It brings back memories. Whereas I love my tea with oat milk now, but it is a different thing. And you're vegan, right? So
Yeah, no cow juice for me.
no,
Although to be fair with you, I've always been a veggie, and then when I was considering veganism, and people say, "Oh, would you go vegan?" I go, "Yeah, but I don't know whether I could." What would I do
tea.
with the tea? It was the last thing. I stopped eating cow's dairy cheese because it was genuinely making me really ill. Talk about my, brush with cancer another time. But so that was very easy to give up because it was literally like that's going to hurt me. I'm not going to
It's
eat
hurting you,
it.
yeah.
But yeah, the milk and tea it was a big mind shift. It took me a
It
really
does
long
taste
time.
different every now and then when I have it, which I just sometimes agree. And we're talking probably once a year, if not once every 2 years. But and I drink it, I get this flood of memory. Like
Yeah.
memory comes from hearing, tasting, smelling so much more than anything else. And I'll taste that, I think, oh,
Oh yeah.
it's nice. And I don't like milk, but it's just
I
that
re
thing.
I really like a strong cup of tea as well. I will judge you as a person if you present me a cup of tea
Weaky,
that
milky.
isn't
Ugh,
weak and as milky.
ugh.
I will probably decide that we can't be the bestest of friends.
Yeah, there'll
But if
be
you can't
an
take your tea strong, then you can't take my personality.
No, I agree. And you know what my mum used to do as well? It was the craziest thing. And to this day, I still don't know why. But she'd say, "Do you want a cup of tea?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course, yeah." Uh, and it would be like, "Why is there half a cup?"
Oh no, you've got to fill the
And
mug up.
you know
And it's
why?
got to be a big mug.
You know why though?
Why?
Even though I'm not a child anymore, it's because when I was younger, she'd do it and then fill it up with cold water. I'm like, I'm not a baby anymore. But I'd still get half a cup.
Yeah.
It's
People
all
that
right.
don't finish their tea either. It's like I might forget about the cup and that there it will be cold. I'll still drink it.
I like
Tea
cold
in
tea.
it.
A
It's
lot of my
still
friends don't.
tea.
Yeah,
But
my
some
friend
people are
hates
like, oh, I don't need that anymore. It's cold. I'd be like, but it's
no.
tea. It's the elixir. You can't not
It's life.
finish it. It's
Tea is life.
totally. It's so interesting because we're chatting about this, and I'm thinking about episodes we've done before about the difference between, being in the UK and the US. Tea really does. It really is a thing about British, and
Yeah.
firstly, it's something we nicked from another country, so of course that fits the bill of being British. But it really is ingrained in our culture, and often people that from not England that come and meet loads of non-English people in London, they've always got a comment about how tea exists. Like, do you even can you even buy English breakfast tea in Starbucks in America? Whereas like it's every like
You can, but
imported coffee
it's
shop.
yeah, you can, but it's still like if I ask for a tea, I have to specify.
English
And generally they
breakfast.
say
Yeah.
black tea. And it's horrible. It's just this random non-brand tea bag. I think I had one in Waffle House recently, and nah,
They probably weren't using hot enough water. It's
it
often the
just
problem.
it was. I can't even explain it. It was traumatic, quite frankly. It was
Nothing
awful.
worse than a disappointing cup of tea. I like to take a flask of tea with me to places. Just
In fact,
because,
I
like,
don't
when I go
have.
to classes at uni, I'll take
I
a
don't.
flask of tea, which is like maybe 2 or 3 cups of tea. That'll last me the whole lecture. It's brilliant.
Oh, do you know what? If you ever want to buy me a present, a
Flask.
flask.
I'll get you.
I've
I'll
never
get you
had a
one like mine.
flask.
It's brilliant.
Oh, I would. Oh, that's like getting fluffy socks at Christmas. Like that's heaven.
It's also, tea is also like a punctuator, isn't it? It's like, remember
Yes.
our episode about voice noting?
Yeah.
There's a whole thing, I'm right, I'm going to listen to this 40-minute voice note from my friend, and I'm going to punctuate that with cup of tea, sit down, notepad, cup of tea, write a list. I mean, all of the episodes that we have talked about, all of the subjects we talked about, one must assume that everything I'm saying is accompanied by a cup of tea. Make a cup
Well,
of tea, sit down, write a song, make a cup
Phoebe,
of tea, do my list for the week, make a cup of tea.
I definitely,
So,
yeah, I urge you and the listeners to actually watch our episode. I think it's 14 or 15, voice noting. And as you're, I think I said this to you recently because we did a reel, and it was really funny because you was talking about doing when someone sends you a long voice note, it takes so long that you pause and take some notes so you can respond to them, and in between that you'll make a cup of tea on
yeah.
each pause. And during that voice noting, and as in response to that, a reel we've made out of it yet to come out, or it's come out, I can't remember. And as you're saying that, I'm sipping each time you say I've made a cup of tea, so it's just
Bit of an odd
ingrained.
suggestion.
Cheers.
Having
Cheers.
said that, cheers. Having said that, I do have to have coffee in the morning, otherwise I can't function.
You do like a coffee. Do you know, I've been convinced. I actually had a black coffee this morning, which I never do because I've run out of oat milk, but it didn't taste that different.
No, black coffee's all right.
But
But
I
I have
didn't.
to, I mean, I used to wake up and just have a tea, and I know a lot of people that are just all right with a cup of tea. But I like a kick, like coffee. And
For
then,
me, it's
like,
not the
after
kick.
one
It's
pot of coffee, I'm just on the tea. Maybe that's because tea is, like I said earlier, just like drinking water to me now.
well, not just that. Tea's more of a comforter, so coffee belongs in that first kick start your day.
That makes
So that's why I tend to have a cup of coffee, more probably because of society, and I've just eventually gone along with it. But tea is more of a comforter to me.
Yeah,
Coffee isn't.
it is a friend. It's a companion. Oh, I've got that big task to do. Make a cup of tea.
I
Get
mean, we
started.
just need a kid to call tea.
Need to
Let-
have that chat. Let's have a cup of tea. Sit down. Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Tea,
it.
tea, glorious
Tioni.
tea.
There's an actress called Tioni or something. That's a brilliant name.
Oh, yeah.
If we ever have a kid at some point in our lives that we adopt from
cat.
China.
More likely to have a cat. Maybe I'll
Cat,
call my
yeah.
next cat Tea.
I love it. Do you know what I used to do? This is funny, completely irrelevant. Don't know why I'm saying it. I used to say to one of my ex-boyfriends and my mum and people, by the way, what letter comes after S in the alphabet?
That's
And they'd
good.
go, T. I'd be like, yes, please.
Please. Love that.
Brilliant, right?
that.
You got to use it.
We used to have all sorts of like social games around, if the last one to sit down has to make the tea.
Yeah.
And talking about things like last week, talking about things that are being annoying in the office, to offer everyone else a tea when you make a tea or not. And I used to, when we still sit at the same round of desks, I would offer every 3 times if anybody else wanted a cup of tea, because the other 2 times I'd be sneaking off to make yet another cup of tea. And if I offered every time I was making tea, people would know how much tea I drank.
Yeah, yeah. That's funny because it's like when you offer, I've always thought this, it's like if you're at my house and you offer to do washing up, you expect me to say no.
Yeah.
And then everyone says yes. Like either everyone says no or 15 people say yes. You're like, I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah, totally. Thanks very
You
much.
know. And then don't
Don't give me a
complain if you
hand.
don't like it. If you don't like it. So I think that I think I've been in an office environment before where it just ended up being that you just do it for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you have that culture where it's someone's turn.
Yeah, I don't know. I just always seem to never get one. And I never
Well,
liked when they did it.
In the non-office work that I've had, like being on set or in production or in the studio, in those more creative places where everybody's hands-on doing something, it'd be more likely that there's tea rounds.
Yeah,
Somebody makes everyone a tea because
absolutely.
somebody's hands are busy. But in
That's
the
more
office,
collaborative though, isn't it? It's a more of a collaborative environment and
you
you're
might argue, if we go back to that Chinese tea ceremony idea, that tea is part of that collaborative experience.
yeah, I love it. I love
I
it.
interrupted you then. What were you going to say?
No, no, I just love what you just said, though. I think that for me, the collaboration, what I was going to say is that, especially I can talk from a vocalist perspective, like you become, during that rehearsal period leading up to a show or shows, you become very close to those people very quickly
Yeah.
because you are all one voice, and it kind of goes hand in hand with that, doesn't it? I love that. I've never thought about that, and I really like that you
Without the tea, would you be collaborating so well?
Yeah, I mean, like we've done shows, you and me, before, where we've had other people that we've never worked with before, and by the end of it, I mean, you're practically married
Yeah.
without the, you know,
Brother and sister.
brother and sister. Yeah, let's say that. But you're so close because it's so intense. It's different from the workplace, isn't it? In that
Yeah,
workplace,
well, you
sorry.
have to be. It's a bit like having a day job in an office, a bit like running a
Yeah,
marathon, where you just kind of get into a pace with people. When you're
yeah,
working to a deadline on a project, yeah, you're in a sprint, aren't you?
yeah.
To use agile
Yes,
project management language.
yes, exactly. If you want a project manager, we're here.
Yeah.
Um,
So, who likes tea? Who likes coffee? Who doesn't drink either? It. Who and offered a cup of tea asks for a herbal.
I don't consider that tea. I was going to say that earlier. Or I have a lot of peppermint, but
It's
I
tea,
don't see it as
technically.
tea.
It's
Is it?
leaves infused in water. It is tea, but it's not English
I
breakfast.
know,
It's
but
not
not for
builder's
me.
tea. It can
No.
do one.
Builder's tea, we've got to end on you explaining that.
Builder's tea, yet strong, milky, normal, every day.
Tea bag left in or taken out?
Well, leaving a tea bag in is a bit slapdash, if you ask me. You've got to stir the bloody thing. And, if you can't be bothered to stir and you're leaving the tea bag in instead. Having said that, if I'm really, really tired, I leave the tea bag in. Or I'll add the milk and the tea bag isn't infused enough yet. I'll be like, I'm going to have to leave it in.
Do you know
I mean,
what
I
though?
could talk about this for ages. Like, literally.
No, I can tell.
We've been
And
going a while already.
we have, but I think it's a worthy topic. But we'll leave it with this: that tea to me is British tea that's hot, that's got a tea bag in it, hot water, milk, dare I say, a bit of sugar. But I do have honey, or I have agave.
It's a sweet
But
thing.
yeah, something. It's just the way I like it. But other teas, even herbal teas like peppermint tea, which I have a lot at night, I love them. But I don't. If someone said, "Do you want a cup of tea?" It wouldn't enter my head to pick a herbal tea or a cold tea or a sweet tea. It just
Would you
wouldn't.
like a herbal tea is a completely different question.
It's a completely different question. So we'll leave it there and let's cheers to good old fashioned British tea. Cheers.
Cheers. See you next week.
See you next week, guys.